Welcome back to the College Podcast USA, your podcast to finding the right college in the United States and study in the US with a sports scholarship. Joining me today for the second time, our most favorite guest in the whole wide world, NAIA head soccer coach of Corban University, Corbin Bowers. Welcome back, Corbin.
Great to be back. Next time I'll be in Germany for this, one of these maybe.
You're welcome and invited anytime. Just let me know. And yeah, I'd be happy to do a live episode with you.
Sounds great.
Okay. Corbin, today we're going to talk about the recruiting process from a coach's perspective. How does it work? What should applicants have in mind? What should they consider? What are the do's? What are the don'ts? And how do you view everything? Because like you're on the other end, you recruit players. What do you want them to do? How are they supposed to contact you? Like everything. We go into details, the nitty-gritty stuff of the recruiting process. We're also going to talk about some of the legal stuff. We're also going to talk about money. So this episode is going to be packed with insights.
Let's do it.
You want to start? Stage is yours.
Yeah, excited to share with everybody the ins and outs of recruiting and the do's and don'ts. I think it's super important that any sport, any athlete get it right to put themselves ahead of the game. There's so many players out there trying to get recruited. And if you can use this valuable information and compose the right email and kickstart your recruiting process, it's going to help you have a much easier path.
Awesome. How many applications or like requests for players do you get every season? Roundabout.
Yeah, to be honest, I would say here at the NAIA level, it's probably like 200 to 300 per year of emails, players interested, maybe even more. Daily, my inbox is full of athletes interested in studying and playing. And there's good ones, there's bad ones, but it's a huge number. And as you go up and across the divisions, it can be even more. I know friends at Division One level are receiving contact from thousands of kids on a yearly basis.
Yeah, that's just that's a crazy number. So at some point you gotta put in a filter, I guess,
Yeah.
because obviously you don't want to get like flooded by mails. Also you just want to get guys or girls who you really need, who are the right fit for you. So what kind of filters do you use?
Yeah, I would say the most important filter that a student can use that will help me is doing your research on the university. It's important. I know you want to contact a lot of universities and expand your network, but it's important that every time you contact a coach, you show personability or specialization toward our school. An example would be if you're contacting us, tell us why you want to study here, what major you're interested in. Tell us that you watched one of our games or you saw our record, uh, or you have a desire to live in the state of Oregon, something that shows that it's very specific to the university. And it's okay to contact multiple universities, but every time you do that, make the email specific to that school. It's frustrating for me to read maybe the wrong university in an email or a major we don't offer. Or they spell my name wrong, anything like that, that shows that you're not putting like the time and effort into being personalizing your interests for a university. So if I read through an email and I see that there wasn't any time put into it, or it's maybe a blanket email that's going to be sent to every coach in the country, that's a bad filter. But if you mention 2 or 3 things of why you're interested in my university, that puts you in the good filter.
Awesome. That's also what we recommend because we want people actually to take the time and do research on your university before they apply. Because obviously you want to apply to a lot of universities because that just gives you better opportunities. You might get more contacts, you might get more offers. You have some room to negotiate. But if you use the same email over and over again, you just don't stand out anymore. And so interesting for me is that you said the same thing. And also, what do you do with those emails? Do you click on delete right away, or what do you do with them?
I don't ever delete. I let them sit there in case somebody follows up and maybe they try again and they realize, oh, I made a mistake. Or if sometimes, if there's time, I try to help somebody. I've gone the length of somebody's written an email and making sure, hey, was this for me? Hey, do you understand we don't have engineering here? Or hey, we play NAIA, not NCAA. Are you still interested? But there are a lot of emails that with the mass amount that we get, if it's not catching our attention, we don't reply and we don't get to it. We try as best as we can, but it's hard sometimes.
Okay, awesome. Let's go back one step. Is email the preferred medium you want to be contacted at? Or is it, do you say WhatsApp? Is it mail? Do you have like a form on your website?
Great question. I've become comfortable with all of it. I think it's what the athlete's most comfortable with, as long as you show that you're truly interested. Emails are a good first point of contact because it's easy to write. It's on a website, and you can be personal, but you can also be professional. I have no problem with receiving a first contact through WhatsApp. I would say there being short and to the point, maybe not as long as an email, but having a short way of catching my attention. Um, Social media, even if you were to find our Instagram page and you wanted to send us a direct message through Instagram, again, short and to the point, still being a little professional with it. And we do have a form on our website where you can complete that, and all your basic information would be in there: your name, your contact info, your major, what level you play at. And if we get one of those submitted, we go out of our way to reply to that. But I would also say it's really important if you fill out we call it a recruit questionnaire. Send us an email too. Hey, coach, this is who I am. And by the way, I completed your recruit questionnaire.
So you mentioned Instagram. It's not your personal Instagram account, but it's your school's, like your soccer program, men's soccer program school's Instagram account, right?
Yeah, and that's a personal preference. We have Instagram, we have Twitter, and we're okay with being contacted at the program's Instagram and Twitter. We use that as a recruiting tool as well because you can see the videos, the pictures about us, and maybe that catches your attention.
Okay, awesome. So you mentioned the length of the contact. Obviously, WhatsApp's gonna be short, quick, and easy. What about email? Because I feel like most people are more comfortable writing you an email as a first point of contact, especially people from Europe, because they're like, the culture is different and they feel like they're not supposed to contact you because you might be annoyed by them contacting you, which obviously is wrong, but that's just how some people think and the culture's like. How long is the email supposed to be?
Yeah, I would
And
say,
sorry, and also what's supposed to be in that mail?
yeah, good question. I would say short and to the point with detail. I know that maybe sounds like I'm contradicting myself, but I would say what you want to include in there is obviously your name, where you're from, when you're looking to start at the university. And then from there, I would go in majors that you're interested in, your academic profile. So major, your GPA, have you done TOEFL? Have you done Duolingo? So that would be the next paragraph. And then let's go into the soccer. I play this position. I play for this club or sport, any sport. I play this sport. I play for this club. Here's my sport CV, and here's a link to my short video. And maybe at the end, a couple of sentences of why you're interested in the university, or what caught your attention about us. And that's enough information. And that's, I think, maybe like a 3 to 4 paragraph email with one paragraph longer than the other. Some is just basic information, but that's given us everything that we need to know of, is this somebody we would be interested in? And do we want to continue a conversation with them? So I think that's easy enough to fit into 4 or 5 paragraphs. Uh, Again, if we start from the beginning, introduction, who you are, where you're from, then we can go on to the academic side, what you want to study, what's your GPA, what's your English test score, and then specific to your sport. This is the position, the team, the league, and here's a video of me playing my sport. And wrap it up with, this is why I'm interested in your university.
Awesome. That's pretty similar to what we recommend our guys do and girls do. To be as specific as possible without leaving any open questions for you, but also don't write a novel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty much. So all the necessary stats. So they're supposed to think what would you like them to put in the mail. But obviously, people from Europe don't know the system. They don't know what especially soccer in the US is about, because it's stats, numbers, and yeah, stuff like that. But yeah, I think that is just the right thing to do. And also people don't realize that head soccer coaches in general are fully employed, because in Europe only professionals get paid and are employed 100%. So yeah, that's just a different mindset, and it takes some time to understand here in Europe. But that also means that you get bombarded with emails, as you said earlier. So you don't want to read a whole novel, but you want it quick, right to the point. Hey, can I work with this guy? Can I work with this girl? Or it just isn't the right fit. You want to see that right away. And Corbin, if you're interested, what do you do?
Yeah, so we typically respond pretty quickly. If it's somebody we're interested in, we try to respond within a reasonable amount of time and say thanks, obviously, but then like ask a little more details. Uh, can we get on a phone call? Can we schedule a Zoom or a WhatsApp audio, especially with people in Europe, maybe even WhatsApp video. I just did this similar with somebody from the Netherlands 2 weeks ago, where they sent us a really good introductory email, and we set up a call, and then we started to get into more detail. Now I want to know more about your background. I want to see what questions you have, and I just want to get to know you more on a one-on-one level and go beyond a professional email. So if we're interested in you, we've started very professional, very respectful, from like European culture to USA culture. Now, if we're interested, we're going to make that jump into really getting to know you as a person, as an athlete, to really determine if you're the right fit for us. And so those can be short conversations of 20 minutes, but even this past week, I had an hour-long conversation with somebody just to really get to know them. It's going to depend on the personality of each individual, but we want to see how much more deep and personal and how much more information we can learn about you on a call, and then see what kind of questions you have. Now that next point of contact, it'd be WhatsApp, it'd be a call, is allowing you to ask as many questions as you have about the university.
Okay, sweet. So it gets into one-on-ones, obviously, and then I guess a lot more quick messages through WhatsApp or any chat app, basically. When we talk about chatting, I remember that when I applied for the US, I had one coach tell me that he's not allowed to talk to me on the phone for more than one time a week. There was an NCAA coach. Corbin, is that still true? Is that true at all? And are there more rules, regulations, legal stuff around recruiting?
So it's changed a little bit from the time we were being recruited to now, where the restrictions have been lifted a little bit. Obviously, it changes from division to division, and also from NCAA to NAIA, and sometimes from university to university, how often they want their coaches to be contacting recruits. For us at the NAIA level, we can have unlimited contact. It'd be phone calls, it'd be emails, it'd be video calls. We can do as much as possible. Um, as you get closer to Division One, they're going to have maybe the most restrictive rules on contacts. But those coaches are very well informed, and so they're going to let you know, hey, this is how I can contact you, and this is how much and how often. And it's okay to ask that too, and they'll be very quick to answer that. But it's changing, and we're kind of growing and sympathizing into new regulations and into this new generation of being a technology generation, so that we can do Zoom is a great option, video calls are a great option. So it's going to change, but it's a lot less restricted than it was a few years ago.
Yeah, so I think it's funny because as a European, you think like, man, the coach seemed to be so interested in me, and now he only contacts me once a week. What's going on with that guy? And yeah, obviously they are not allowed to contact you more than once at some levels. So that's just something you have to keep in mind, when you talk to an American coach.
Yeah,
But yeah, NCAA rules, NAIA rules are sometimes they don't really make sense, I think. However, they're supposed to be like to make it fair, to make the whole process fair, to have other contact or to give other coaches the opportunity to contact those players too, not just one coach.
correct. And a great example at the Division 1 level, they now have what are called dead periods. It's tied into the holidays, where trying to take away the pressure from a coach to have a life outside of coaching. So there's certain weeks of the year, mostly tied into holidays, where nobody's allowed to contact anybody to try to give those coaches a rest. As I said, Division 1 is getting thousands of contacts per year. There's an added pressure, there's added competition of it being the highest level. Those coaches need a break. So typically, again, repeating myself, tied to the holidays, there might be a week where they can't have any direct contact with you. Um, and that's just balancing everybody's life. And it's okay. You'll find out. Coaches will let you know. It's getting posted on social media a lot now. But I think it's okay to understand that if a coach is interested in you, you're going to hear from them a lot. But sometimes there are exceptions and there's rules that limit us on what we can and can't do.
Okay. Corbin, any other rules, regulations regarding recruiting we should know?
I think it's maybe sometimes it happens with Europeans if you want to visit the university. That's not in everybody's capability, but sometimes there are athletes that want to come to America and visit schools. There's going to be restrictions there on when can you do it? Is it senior year? Is it junior year? How many times you can be on a campus? How long you can be on a campus? And sometimes universities have the ability to cover costs, maybe transportation from the airport or meals or lodging, and that's going to change from the divisions as well. So there are opportunities. It's maybe worth exploring. Those bigger budget, those bigger schools may have the possibility for you to visit. And maybe it's a great opportunity for you to see a campus in person. I understand it's not all the time realistic for young men and young women coming from Europe, but something to keep in mind.
Yeah, something you definitely should consider because, basically you pay for the flight there and back, and over there you shouldn't need a lot of money because you'd be probably going to one or two schools, and then they should take care of you.
Yes,
But obviously you have to plan ahead and yeah, get the details right and everything. So we rarely see that happening, to be
yeah,
honest, because
absolutely.
yeah, you have to combine it with like going over there with your parents, like do semi vacation where you 2 days off and then you visit a school and then you drive to another place. So yeah, I think it's kind of stressful for somebody to do that. You might not be able to perform on the level you're used to perform or you would perform at home, because you're jet lagged when you get over there, because there's a big time difference. So yeah, it's not the easiest thing. Also, you're not in your own environment. Yeah, but when you're a good athlete, you're a good athlete with all those circumstances. So
For
no
sure.
excuses.
Yeah, yeah, why not?
Corbin, a very big point, very important point for Europeans are athletic scholarships. At which point during the conversation um, does that question come up? Do you want them to ask you about scholarships? Are they supposed to wait until you offer something? How do you plan your budget? Like, what's the timeline like? Tell us a little bit about money, scholarships, regarding the recruiting process.
Happy to share that. It's super important for everybody. And as we mentioned last time I was on the show, It's a little different, in Europe, where you're not saving up for a degree as you would in the US, just because of taxes and different priorities. So we understand that finances are a pressing issue for everybody, and it looks different for students coming from Europe. Um, I would say the most important thing is as you start to contact coaches, have it very present with you and your family of what your yearly budget is. How much money are you willing to invest for university per year? That's a number or a question that you're going to be asked a lot from college coaches. That way we can start to navigate, does it make sense financially? Are you even in close proximity to helping this person afford our university? And can we suggest another route if not? I would say in terms of scholarship, it's okay to ask. I would say don't ask in the first conversation directly, hey, how much scholarship are you going to give me? Let's ask more of an exploratory question of what do scholarships look like at your university? Do you combine academic and athletic scholarship? Um, we don't want to come off as rude and come off to a coach of any sport that all you're focused on is the money. Obviously, that's an important factor. We know that already, but let's help you be a little more informed of what it looks like. Can we combine academic and athletic? Will my scholarship be for all 4 years? Is there a possibility to increase my scholarship over the course of my career at your university? It's okay to have that first conversation and ask coaches, just approach it in the most professional way you can.
Awesome. Yeah, obviously you don't want to ask them right away if they want to marry you. Just ask them out on a date, you know. Hey, coach, what
Exactly.
about the money?
Yeah.
And Corbin, when it comes to distributing your budget and like give us a little timeline about that. How do you distribute your budget on the one hand, and when do you distribute your budget? Like, do you try to give away like big sums of your budget right away, or do you have players in the pipeline already, or do you wait with your budget until the right player comes around?
Yeah, that's very important. I would say for us, we start with trying to identify, and it would be similar for all sports, our 4 to 5 main positional needs. It be soccer, it be basketball, it be volleyball, whatever. What are your main positions? What do we need for our team to be the most successful next season? And we're going to set apart larger, more important scholarships for our priorities. Um, and we're going to try to find those players pretty early and consistently. And then at the same time, at the NAIA level, we're trying to balance it with maybe lower offers of students that have a bigger financial budget or slightly more interested, but maybe don't fit those needs positionally, the main priorities, but their second priority, So we're going to rank our positional needs, and you're in rank number 2. We're still going to be looking at those players consistently. It's super important that coaches be consistently building their roster for all sports. The worst thing that can happen for us is we get to a month before season and we're missing a huge position. Maybe in soccer we're missing a goalkeeper, or volleyball is missing a libero, something huge because we've been waiting for too long. I would say from our perspective, if we find somebody that meets everything we're looking for, position, team culture, academics, is a good fit, then we're going to offer them quick. We don't want to wait and risk losing that player, risk losing that person. But at the same time, because of different timelines, because of players listening to podcasts or getting informed at different times in the year, we try to set apart large to medium scholarships for the end of our recruiting process, more for the second semester or closer to the start of school, maybe thinking somebody at the last second will be available.
Okay, so it might be possible that you go into season with some budget left.
Yes. For example, right now at our school, we will have 3 players joining us in January, and that was thanks to us having some budget left over before the season even started. So we're able to bring somebody in halfway through the school year that can join our squad in January and prepare without the competitive nature of the normal season. And we were able to offer them still a scholarship because we had funding left over.
Okay. So let's get back to the timeline. When you have the ideal player apply to you, ideally, how far ahead do you want him to apply to you? So is it like a year earlier, or is it like 5 months earlier? Like, what's the timeline?
Yeah, I think we're in a great position now where uh, season's very busy for coaches. Our priority is maybe winning matches or developing our squad. But I would say when you hit end of November, early December, that's when we really start to focus on recruiting and who our top needs are going to be. So if I rewind a little bit, I think you want to get on a coach's radar before November with an introductory email, a short first phone call, just so you're on that coach's list. And then when coach hits his recruiting mentality in November, December, he knows you and he or she is ready to really dive in to get to know you more. Um, what you can do as well is during that season, you can apply because all you'll need is the link from the coach. And then when you have a first interaction, you can say, hey, coach, I already applied. That's set. Now we can just talk about the fun stuff, the soccer, the academics, the student life, the scholarships. Um, we want, typically for us in the soccer timeline, we want to be done with our recruiting class as best as possible by March, for example. So we're going to want to have to make our scholarship offers and have our applications done before that and not be rushing the last second. Not to say somebody might sneak onto our radar after March. Uh, so it usually requires maybe somewhere in the 5 to 7 month before the next season, trying to get on coach's radar as soon as possible. Uh, is super important because you want to establish that relationship. You're going to have to apply. You're going to have to do visa stuff. You're going to have to do eligibility stuff. So there's so many steps that you have to take care of. You don't want to say that to the last minute. So I would recommend applying to a school in the fall, in the U.S. fall. So applying in November, December, at the latest January.
Yeah, that's always kind of what we recommend. We recommend starting the process with us in summer, like July, because they have to record videos, get to know like all the details, create a list of colleges they want to apply, do a lot of research, and that takes a lot of time. And they also still go to school and do sports. So that just takes time off your clock. And then, as you said, they should be ready to contact coaches by fall.
Yeah.
Ideally have like a TOEFL or SAT, ACT already, but that's rarely the case, to be honest. But still, you don't want to have to rush things or like get mediocre quality from a video or anything out there. And also you don't want to miss the opportunity. The coaches still have a lot of budget because when you apply in March, April, a lot of money is just off the table already.
Yeah.
And yeah, even though if you're the right fit for the coach, for the team, for the university, there might just not be any money left.
Yeah, I think it's super important that you, as a recruit, take control of your recruiting destiny. Don't leave anything up to chance, and just work really hard and be on top of everything. Your academics, your highlights, your contacting coaches. There's a spot out there for a lot of people. It'd be NCAA, it'd be NAIA, it'd be junior college. But you have to take control of your destiny is something we say to everybody we're recruiting. You don't want to leave that to the last minute. Be proactive. Get yourself in front of a coach. Have all the information, video, transcripts, TOEFL, academics, soccer resume, sport resume ready, so that you're not finding a spot at the last minute. You want to have that peace of mind of I'm going to find a place to pursue my college athletic dream, but it's up to you to take control of your destiny.
Absolutely. Corbin, I have two last questions for you.
Sounds good.
When it comes to timeline, you didn't mention it specifically, but you're talking about 1 year prior to when they are supposed to come to university. Is it also possible to apply earlier, like 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago?
Possibly. 2 is going to be difficult to apply to the university. It's okay to contact the coach and establish a relationship. But
That's what I meant, sorry.
no, it's okay.
Contact the coach, not apply to university.
Yeah, I think you would say at the NAIA level, maybe not so much, but I would say at the NCAA level, at the highest levels, you are seeing coaches communicating with recruits earlier and earlier. I know for a fact on the women's side, there are people that are in their first year of high school that are already talking to coaches. There are first year players at the NCAA Division I level that are already committing to schools. So it just kind of depends. It's tricky. That's why we're doing these kind of podcasts. We're trying to educate everybody, but it's okay to contact coaches earlier, and you'll learn. Maybe you contact a coach and they say, "Hey, I'm not ready to talk to you. Reach out to me in 6 months." Or the best thing that can happen is a coach says, "Hey, I love it. Let's talk. Let's get you on the radar earlier." Don't be afraid to contact anyone earlier. Most coaches are going to be upfront and honest about when they're ready to speak to you.
Awesome. Last question, Corbin. That I had on my list earlier. Head coaches are often really busy, especially D1 NCAA, and they might not read the emails. So we always recommend writing the email addressing the assistant coach or the 2 assistant coaches and the head coach in CC. Would you recommend that too, or do you have a different approach?
My approach would be similar but different, where address an email to all 3 coaches or all 2, and send. And either way, I think both is good. You can make the main destination the head coach and copy the assistants, or you can make the destination an assistant and copy the rest of the staff, including the head coach. And it's okay because different programs are going to have different approaches to recruiting, and somebody's going to reply to you. The bigger schools have what's called a recruiting coordinator. So they're an assistant coach. They help with the tactics and the technique, but they also manage the recruiting. They filter through. So at a bigger school, you might get put in touch with that person. So if you see multiple email addresses on the university website, copy all the coaches. It's okay. And address them, "Hey, coach A, B, C, nice to meet you," etc. It's okay. Get yourself out there. I don't think that's a do, or I don't think that's a don't. That's a do. Contact all the coaches, catch their attention. Don't let your recruiting process fall through the cracks. And yes, sometimes head coaches are busy. And in the past, I've forwarded on an email to an assistant, and they've taken charge and they've exchanged the emails. They've had the first phone call. At my prior university, I did that. And then the assistant coach would report back to me. If it was a good fit, then the assistant would introduce me to the recruit, and we would have a second phone call where it would be me with the recruit.
Awesome. Corbin, I think that's it. I have no further questions. Thank you so much for being on again. And I have another theme for another call. We should definitely get into detail about the first meeting, the first Zoom call with a coach. What do you think about that?
Sounds good. I'm excited to help everybody get themselves recruited and control their recruiting destiny. If we need to talk about calls and questions, that sounds like a great thing.
Awesome. Corbin, thank you so much. Have a good rest of the day and see you on another episode.
Thanks, Alex. Thank you, everyone.